Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good. Fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts. I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth. Can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about. Have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round. I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me. A slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Well, up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted. I believe we're at 333. Man, that's halfway to 666. That scares the ever-living crap out of me. Guess we got a little ways before we have to worry about that damn number. I may just skip 66 and just go straight to 667 and not even worry about that particular one. But anywho, we are still at 333, so we're good. Normally Logan would be here with me, but his internet is down. Let me just tell everybody, Xfinity is garbage. I just want to put that out there. Xfinity is garbage. I don't care what you got to do. Go AT&T, Verizon, whatever, but Xfinity is garbage. So Logan is down on his internet.
The thoughts of everybody in this panel.
Hey, some of you might have good Xfinity, but a damn sure ain't in Southeast Georgia. So poor Logan is over there with no internet and just hating life. But anywho, I have a great prize today. We have our boy Gonzo. Gonzo's always here, but Gonzo has his dad, Tony, talking with us tonight. And Tony, I'm glad to have you here, brother. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Amen and amen and amen, man. Hey, check us out. You can check us out on Unscripted Guys, Unscripted Sports, and then pretty much on Facebook and everywhere else. But yeah, Unscripted Guys on Twitter, Unscripted Sports on TikTok. But man, and before I forget, I just want to let everybody know, Thursday, don't forget, 7:30, we will be doing the draft watch along, and it's going to be, I think, pretty damn interesting. You guys know now Levis has come out and basically stated, I think he did either Twitter or it may be one of those social media platforms. He came out and said he is going to Carolina at the number one spot. And his draft stock went from 4,000 to plus 400. Gonzo, I don't even know what all that means, but it sounds pretty intense. You're more the betting guy. Are those odds pretty significant?
Oh yeah, it jumped a lot. Plus 4,000 and plus 400 is a big jump. But from what I heard, he's told his family that he's going to be the number one pick. So I'm thinking that somebody from his family leaked out that he told them that.
Yeah. I honestly think either way, no matter who leaked it out, I wonder if Carolina is upset with that.
But there might be some truth to it because the sports book's moving as much as it has. That usually don't happen unless they have some pretty good.
Houston claims they're not taking a quarterback, correct?
Too.
That's what I've heard. Whether that's true or not.
So, I mean, for the sports book odds to move that much, there's usually something to it because they don't. I mean, they're trying to make money, so they don't just move it to move it. They move it. Why would there's a there's usually a reason if they're changing things. Like that much, especially.
Why would Houston come out and claim they're not going to take quarterback? Because they may be able to get a hell of a package.
I think they're doing.
That's what I was thinking or curious about.
The reason I think they're saying they're not taking a quarterback is, I think they're trying to get some of these other teams to see if they can get an offer from some of these other teams to trade up.
Yeah, but my thing, if they think they're taking a quarterback, more teams would be interested in moving up and trying to get that. They ain't offering them more if they're thinking they're taking a quarterback. That'd be my thing.
Yeah.
Well, truthfully, guys, I honestly, if I'm Houston at this point, I'm almost maybe thinking about trying to go for Caleb Williams next year and just taking whatever the best positional guy is available, whether it be an offensive lineman or even a defense, and maybe even trading back to get an offensive lineman at a letter spot, maybe even gone up another draft spot. Yeah, I don't know if Houston necessarily needs to go for a quarterback. I think they just suck next year and get Caleb Williams.
Well, see, the thing of it is, if the coach are really interested about getting Stroud, they could move. They could move up to 2. They could swap picks, and of course, the coach would have to give something else up to Houston, so Houston would get additional picks and probably still get the guy.
I would be fine with that if I was Houston. I would have no problems.
I don't think the Colts want to move up.
No, I'm not saying or another team. I mean, you've got a lot of teams out there that could use a quarterback also. I was just saying.
No, Houston might want to. I mean, the Colts might want to consider moving up. Have you seen their freaking quarterback situation? Unless they really want to wait. Well, then again, Gonzo, you did bring it up, talking about Hendon Hooker. If he goes later in the rounds, maybe they had their eyes on Hooker and they get him at a cheaper price.
Yep, I like Hooker.
Well, we're going to talk more about that on Thursday as we kick off the draft show. For the first 30 minutes of that show, we're going to probably break down the first 1 through 10 and see who we think goes where. And then we'll probably break down 15 and 26. That's where me and Frankie are drafting at for the Cowboys and Patriots, respectively. So, yeah, we'll definitely get more into that on Thursday. Let's get us a little bit of NBA right now, Gonzo. I'm gonna start off real quick, talking about just tonight's games real fast because there's really not too much to talk about. But I want to kind of get those talked about real quick, and then we'll go into the actual recap. I know tonight, starting off at 7:30 Eastern on TNT, we get the Hawks versus Celtics. We know Murray's not playing, which is already, that's probably like their number 2 guy outside of Trae Young. What do you expect from the Hawks, if anything, tonight? Do you think it'll be a blowout? Do you think it'll be a tough game? Or do you think it's going to be maybe they get it? Me personally, I think it's going to be a blowout. But what are you guys looking at?
I think it's going to be a blowout. Celtics are 13-point favorites, and I took Celtics minus the 13 points on the sports betting show earlier. The Celtics are just such a deep team, and now the Hawks are missing their second best scorer. And I just don't think the Hawks are going to be able to score enough points to keep up with Boston.
I don't either. No way. I think.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think tonight, Boston wraps up that series, and I think they try to get as much rest as they can for that next round. And again, not having Murray there, that number one, the Hawks were already struggling, so not having Murray, that just adds, I think, more fuel to that very well lit fire that Boston's got cooking over there. When we turn our attention to the next game, which I think is probably, in my opinion, going to be the most competitive of them, just because of they're all healthy at that point, would be the T-Wolves and Nuggets, which we all know. And I really feel like the Nuggets really should have wrapped that up and came out with more intensity towards the end. But either way, I do think they handle business. They're back in Denver, and I think the Nuggets wrap that series up. I think it could be a hard-fought game, but I think at the end, I think the Nuggets wrap it up, and I think they close it out. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a very close game. Nuggets were 10-point favorites. I took Nuggets minus the 10. I think last game they were up 3-0. They didn't come out with no sense of urgency other than Jokic. Jokic was the only one that really played with a sense of urgency about the whole game. And then they tried to pick it up later in the game, but they just couldn't. So I think they're going to come out back at home tonight, come out fired up and look to close the series out.
Let me ask you this before we get on to the last game. When it comes to the T-Wolves, if they wind up getting losing out at 4-1 and their series comes to an end tonight, what do you think, or how do you think where do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves go from here? Given that they traded up the farm, bring in Gobert, you got to imagine this was supposed to be a much, much better team than what we're seeing on the court. Where does Minnesota go at this point? Do they continuously try to work with what they have, or do you see more offseason moves in their future?
That's a good question.
I mean, you might see them make a move or two, but I think they're going to stick with a lot of the guys they have for at least another season. They've shown flashes of looking real good, and then there's other times they look like like they're a high school team. But I think with your injuries and you had some chemistry issues, I think they're going to try running it back again. They might change a couple of their players, but I don't see them really making no big move. I think Gobert will be back, Towns will be back.
What do you think their biggest need would be?
Edwards. It's Edwards, right? Yeah, Edwards. Edwards Edwards, I think, is the guy they need to build that team around. Myself, I think he's about their best player, in my opinion. But with them three guys, and then you add a couple pieces, I think that's what they'll probably look to do.
What do you think their biggest need is?
More shooting.
Well, I think the biggest need, in my opinion, is they need to figure out, when they first brought in Gobert, they brought him over because they thought he could coexist with Karl Anthony, and those guys could almost do like what Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon did back in '86 and form their own version of the Twin Towers, and it just never really panned out that way. It just never did.
And some of that is you got Karl Anthony Towns that wants to play on the perimeter a lot. But no, to answer your question, though, I think they need shooting because you have the two big down low. You need shooting to help spread the court. So I think that's what they'll look to add to be maybe a shooter or two.
I think they definitely need another 3-point threat. They got plenty of down low, right, with Gobert and Towns when they need it there. But I think, like you said, that perimeter shooter, they need that swing man that can get them that rock, and fade it out and get that 3-point ball. That's what I think they're lacking. I also think they need to work on that bench a little bit too, because they gave up quite a bit of their bench to acquire Gobert. And I think they need more bench help as well as 3-point shooting. And if I'm them, that's probably where I'm looking at, is in my bench, trying to get, those, role players, those role swingmen that all they do is come off the bench and hit threes. That's their primary function. And I think if they could find something like that, then that might be, worthwhile. They need like an AR-15 or something to come in, Going on to the last game for tonight was the Clippers and the Suns. Obviously, there's no Kawhi tonight. There's no Paul George tonight. I got to be honest with you. The game's in Phoenix. If Phoenix doesn't wrap this damn series up and just put the Clippers off into their misery land, then there's definitely issues. So I got to imagine that Suns are going to come out and put this game away. But I think we've also talked about where the Suns' weakness is they have great starters, but their bench is so shallow that I think that's going to kill them in the next round. But I do think they handle business tonight. How do you guys fare about it?
I agree with you. I just don't see it with the injuries. I think Phoenix should end it tonight.
Yeah, I think the Suns end. I think it'll probably be a decent game again, because even without Kawhi, they've played the Suns pretty tough. Especially if Westbrook keeps playing like he's playing. He's had a great series so far. Shot a little rough. Shot a little rough the first game, but played real good defense. But then since then he's shot the ball decent. And, he had like 38 points the other night.
Yeah,
I think the Clippers will compete, but I think the Suns win. They have the Suns as 12.5 point favorites. I thought that was too many. So I took the Clippers plus the 12.5, but I think the Suns win. But I'd look for it to be maybe like a 3 to 6 point game, somewhere around there.
Do you find it odd that Westbrook is double dipping? What I mean by that is, even if the Clippers lose, he still has a shot at a ring. And what I mean by that is, if the Lakers continue to move on, and God forbid, if the Lakers actually did get a ring, do you find it odd that Westbrook will be there? And I wear a size 8.
Lakers aren't getting no ring this year.
I'm just saying, it's bad when you got 2 shots at a ring and you still walk away with 0. a time to be alive. That's all I'm saying. Just what a time to be alive, man. In a world where you have 2 shots with 2 different teams and you still can't get a damn thing. What a time. Okay, let's get into this recap a little bit. Actually, before we do that, I want to go into Tuesday night's games, or excuse me, tonight's or Wednesday. Would it be Wednesday? No, I think it is. Yeah, no. Well, today is Tuesday, so Monday's already played, so we already covered that. I'm sorry, my brain is working overtime tonight. No, let's get into the recap. I apologize. Sixers Nets, obviously, that game is done and over, or that series is done and over with. I think the bigger thing for me is coming out of this. Number one, how effective will Embiid be in the next series, given that he's coming off that knee injury and is going to be sporting a brace? Gonzo, I know we talked about this earlier. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Gonzo, you said that they were probably going up against the Celtics when the Celtics wrapped theirs up.
Yes.
Or was it a different team? I can't remember off my head.
Celtics.
Okay. So, honestly, how do you think the Celtics, with the healthy Embiid, if he can stay healthy on that knee, especially as he's had plenty of time to rest now on it, do you think it's going to be an easy series for the Celtics, a hard series for the Celtics? Do you think that it's going to be equally competitive and that it could be anybody's series? How do you see this Celtics and Sixers series running its course?
I think it could be competitive, but I had the Celtics beating the Sixers even if Embiid's 100% healthy. I just think they're the better team. I think they're a little bit deeper of a team. With Philly, Embiid, if he's healthy, usually plays real well, but you never know what Harden's going to do, especially in the playoffs.
Right.
He hasn't played terrible this playoff so far, but we've also seen him disappear in big moments in playoff games before. I just have a little more trust in the Boston team. So I think Boston wins the series. I would say probably, I'm going to say 6 games.
That's interesting. And the reason why I ask you that is because, honestly, I think the unforgotten guy out there in Philly is Tobias Harris. He's quietly, been putting together pretty solid games. And when Embiid did go down, Harris had not a monster game, but he had a really good game to help them wrap up that series. So I'm wondering, and again, a lot of it really depends. I think this series, the X factor is Harden. Can Harden, come out and actually ramp his game up? Or is he going to be the typical Harden like we all kind of know him to be, where he gets maybe 12, 13, 14, very pedestrian-like numbers? If Harden could put up what he's capable of putting up to match Embiid and Tobias Harris and company, I do think they could give the Celtics a run for their money. But again, they're going to have to do what they haven't done a lot of the time, right? And Tatum and Brown, Smart and company, that's a tall order, right?
Yeah, especially if Boston can stay healthy. If that's Smart is the one I'm worried about a little bit because he's had a little bit of trouble here lately.
Right.
If he can stay healthy, I think Boston's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that, Tony. What do you think, man? Who you going for? Who are you going for in this? Or not going for, but who do you think takes this series? I know Gonzo said it. Celtics in 6. I would I'm going to say probably Celtics, but I think it's in 7. I think if Embiid can stay healthy throughout the series, I think he pushes it to 7. But what do you think, Tony? Celtics, Sixers?
I think depending on Embiid health, I'm going to say 5 or 6 games. I think Boston's just got more. I think they're a better team. I think the best. I think Philly does a 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Philly. I'm right there with. I'm borderline, right? I'm so bored, and I think I'm on the border with it only because of Harden. I feel like if Harden can actually produce, and get you 20, 25 consistently, throughout the playoffs, or if their bench can consistently produce, I think this team is capable of beating the Celtics. But it's going to be an all hands on deck effort. It can't just be, Embiid shouldering the whole load and other guys chipping in. So I think Harden is really the big X factor for Philadelphia. And so and again, my experience with Harden is why, and especially with Houston and stuff, and his stint out there and with Brooklyn. Boy, I tell you what, for me, I'm just skeptical. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to skip the Suns Clippers recap because really, who gives a damn? They're probably going to wrap it up tonight, so nobody really cares. But the one I'm curious about is the Bucks and the Heat. That recap, because I'm curious right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Miami is up 3-1 now in the series. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So the Bucks are against the wall. The Heat, what Jimmy Butler and company did was stupid. Again, though, Oladipo's gone for the series. He's not coming back. Can they rematch or redo what they did in last game to take the series? And I got to be honest with you, if that team has a chance in hell, even if they beat the Bucks, if they have a chance in hell of going further than that, they're going to require a lot more from Adebayo. When I watched Connaughton or Cuffington, however you say his last name, that little white kid out there pushing him around and, blocking, I think he blocked one of his shots. I mean, just not really allowing Adebayo to do what Adebayo should be doing in the paint as a center. That really caused a lot of concern for me. Gonzo, I don't know how I'm pretty sure you're probably doing the same thing. If Adebayo can't do more than 7 points and getting his ass kicked in the paint by a white kid who has no business even being in the paint, should have been out on the perimeter. I mean, honestly, I think the Heat can get past the Bucks, but again, even if they get past the Bucks, I don't know how much further they're going to go. I don't know if Jimmy Butler can sustain that energy level.
No, I still think the Bucks are going to win this series. I know they're down 3-1, but it took Jimmy Butler scoring 56 and over half of Miami's points last night, and you still barely beat the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks had chances to win that game. Probably should have won the game. They led most of the game. I just don't know if, as good as Jimmy Butler is in the playoffs, if he's going to be able to keep doing that on a consistent basis. He's going to need more help, and with the injuries they have, I just don't think they have enough bodies. So I think I do think Milwaukee's going to come back and win the series. But if Miami does win the series, I think they get beat next round. I just don't think they have enough bodies with the injuries. As good as Jimmy Butler has been in these playoffs.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Tony. Are you feeling the same way, or do you think that the Heat can keep this magic pill rolling?
Son of a bitch!
They only need one game. I think it depends on the.
I'm watching the Reds game, man.
It depends on the center from Milwaukee. I mean, how healthy is he? I mean, is he going to be able to play all? If they win the next game, is he going to be able to play Game 6? Is he going to be able to play Game 7 if they make it there? I think that's the big if.
I agree.
I think if he plays and he's healthy, I think Milwaukee's capable of winning 3 in a row, considering the situation Miami's in with their injuries. But if he's not, I don't know. I got to give Miami the edge just to get one game because they only need one out of the next 3.
Yeah, 1 out of 3. Gonzo, you're a betting man. Those odds are pretty damn good. I will say this though. I don't know how much more Jimmy can put out before Jimmy starts getting injuries. You start, fatiguing and getting tired and slumping over. You start losing your mechanics. You tweak a left ankle the wrong way. I mean, freak injuries can happen when you get that tired. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and well, here's the odds. There's only been 17 teams. I forget out of how many, but there's only been 17 teams to come back from 3-1 deficit. So
Houston Rockets were one of those teams.
It doesn't happen very often. I think it was like 100 or 200 and something in 17 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but Houston Rockets.
It was 95% of the time the team that goes up 3-1 wins. So
interesting, because I think the Rockets did that in 1994, but I might be mistaken. You might want to fact check me on that.
I think that was
matter of fact, I can almost tell you it was against Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns, but what a time to be alive.
I think that was the last time the Rockets were relevant, wasn't it?
We got Udako, so we're working on it.
Yeah, but you might be relevant for the wrong reasons.
Nobody likes you, Tony. No, seriously. Hey, guys, let's move into this next game. The Lakers and Grizzlies. I'm gonna give Tony. I'm gonna give Gonzo his credit. You're right. The Lakers did take game one, but boy, I tell you what, that whole Dylan Brooks story, man, still just wow. I mean, wow. But again, getting away from that, Davis gave you 31, James gave you 25. I think when these guys are locked in, and either one of these guys, as long as they're doing 30 and 30 or between Davis and James, if you're getting 50 points plus combined out of those, along with the rebounds and stuff that goes along with it, they got a pretty good shot at competing at a pretty good level with a lot of teams, especially when you get AR-15 and Hachimura, doing their tidbits and chiming in where they're chiming in. Last game, AR-15 got you 23, and the game before that, Hachimura gave you 20. So, they're role players. When their role players are stepping up and doing what they need to do, when D'Angelo Russell, like last night, is giving you 17, and Vanderbilt's giving you like 15, and we all know Vanderbilt hasn't played a damn thing. When those kinds of things happen, this Lakers team does look pretty good. So my question to you guys is, number one, they got one more game against the Grizz, and then they go into the next round. Can this Lakers team find that magic several more times and get beyond?
So you think that series is over then, I guess?
You tell me. I kind of think it is. I'm not saying, nothing's ever over.
You used to have one more game with the Grizzlies, so.
Hey, listen, I will tell you this. And I believe this. When Randy Jowers is conceding to Frankie in the group chat, and Randy Jowers never concedes on Memphis. I'll tell you that right now. But when he even sees the looks of defeat in this, yeah, it's over.
I think the Lakers are going to win the series. But if you look at that game last night, Memphis should have won that game. You're up by 7 with a little over, maybe a couple minutes left in the game, and you turn the ball over.
Yeah, they blew up.
And you let that game slip out of your hands. And that was a must-win game. You can't go down 3-1.
Yeah.
So I do think the Lakers advance, but I don't think the Lakers get past the next round.
Yeah, I think if they were to get past the next round, it would take repeat performances of like what you saw last game, where everybody was contributing and not just a couple of guys, right? Like it's going to take an all-hands effort, and I just don't know that the Lakers have enough in them in that next round, especially when you're looking at like the Golden State, the Denver Nuggets, those top tier type teams. When you get up there, I mean, it's going to be very difficult. So I agree with you. I do think they get past Memphis. I really do. I don't think they get past whoever it is, whether it be Golden State or whether it be Denver. I don't care whichever one they play. I don't think they get past them at all. Tony, do you see that the same way, or do you think the Lakers can go farther than just this Memphis series?
I don't think so. I don't think they've got quite enough firepower myself, unless Davis just really goes off. And I don't know if you can depend on Davis. Hell, he may get hurt and be done. Lakers got a chance. I won't put them completely out, but I think it's a very put it this way. It's not like the guy I watched on TV said the Lakers was the favorite to win it all right now. He said he said they're the 20% favorite. What was the next one? Like 18%. And he had, who do you have? He had who do you have number 2?
Is it Boston?
I think it was Boston, and then Philadelphia was 17%. But he had like a pie. And he's got the Lakers as the favorite. What's the dude's name? He's a big Laker homer.
Nick Wright.
Nick Wright. He's a big Laker homer. I'm surprised he can even talk without having LeBron's whatever it is.
He had the Celtics, or not the Celtics, but he had the Nuggets at like 8% chance to win. Philadelphia was like at 8%.
Yeah, there was
the Warriors was down there like at 8%. Dude,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
And he had the Lakers as his favorite to win it all.
20%.
I mean, I'm not going to venture quite that far, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens after they get past this Memphis team and see where they go. But yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Gonzo and Tony. I don't think they get past that next round at all. let's real quick. Next series I want to talk about is this Cavs versus Knicks. New York right now is up 3-1. Everybody's going pretty high over there right now. Mitchell didn't do very well. Obviously, 5 of 18, 0 of 4 at the 3-point line. Gave you pedestrian 11, 4, and 5, and that just doesn't cut it for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, Randall benching him, I thought was a good idea. I think he needs to come off the bench now. I just don't think something's not right with him. And I don't know what it is, but something is definitely not right. I think Garland did a much better job. I think he found his spots well, gave you 23 points on 10 assists. So they getting help from other guys. And then, of course, let's not even talk about Brunson and Barrett and what they gave you. Both of those guys did extremely well. They held the Cavs on Friday to 79 points. That was the lowest total in NBA game this season. And again, I think the fouls really killed the Cavs at 23 fouls to 15 just for the Knicks. But honestly, guys, I think Brunson and Barrett and company, I think they got this. How far they go past this now, that's another question. But I definitely think they take out the Cavs. What are y'all's thoughts on the Cavs and Knicks?
Yeah, I think the Knicks are going to win the series. They've looked like the better team in this series. And I thought the Cavs going in the series, I thought the Cavs would win it. But the Knicks have been playing well, and if they keep playing the kind of defense that they're playing,
right?
I mean, who knows how far they could go? And I mean, because hell, if Miami does beat the Bucks, then you're talking about a Knicks and Miami matchup, and the Knicks are capable of winning that matchup. So I mean, and making it to the Eastern Conference Final. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. It would be pretty cool to see the Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals just because all the history of the Knicks and how long it's been since they've been competitive. But I don't know if they'll make it that far, but I do think they definitely finish this Cavs series off. They've looked like the better team through the first 4 games.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And Damian seems to think it's going to be Bucks Kings in the finals. I tell you, in order for that to happen, Jesus is going to have to come down and put his hand on both of these franchises to get them where they need to go. Fox is going to play right now. Speaking of the Kings versus the Warriors. The Warriors did get the 1-point win the other night, and they evened it up at 2 apiece. Now they're going back to Sacramento for Game 5, which Fox has said, even with the fractured tip of his finger, he will play. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he's able to play with that fractured finger. It's going to take everything that he has for the Kings to be able to get that win. And both teams shot the ball well. Kings gave you 47 to the Warriors 50. So Clay, Thompson, Poole, all 3 of those guys were on fire. Green was terrible as always, 3 of 14. He did rebound and assist at 10 and 7. But again, his shooting was not very well. So
his shooting wasn't good. He played good defense. Yeah, but his shooting wasn't good. But he was big key on the defensive side.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're only looking at a 1-point, when you're looking at a 1-point game, the fact that they fouled 21 times to Golden State's 19, those fouls obviously came into play with that 1-point win.
Well, but it shouldn't even have been a 1-point game. Warriors were up by 6, and
yeah,
Steph Curry makes a bonehead play and calls a timeout you don't have. So then you give them a free throw and the ball. So you basically let them back in the game with that. But then the Warriors was able to hold on. But I think the Warriors win this series. Game 5, I think is the pivotal game because the Kings don't want to go back to Golden State facing elimination in Game 6. You know what Game 6 Clay can do and the way Steph Curry's been playing. But in reverse of that, if you're the Warriors, you don't want to lose Game 5 on the road and then have to go home for Game 6 to force a Game 7 to go back to Sacramento where you haven't played great on the road. So I think Game 5 is a real important game for both teams because I don't think you want to be facing elimination on the road if you're either one of these teams. But with you do have to factor out Fox injury and some. But I've had the Warriors before the series started, and I still think the Warriors are going to win this series.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. I just, number one, it was already hard enough for those guys out there in Golden State to get the wins. And now that he's got a fractured finger, I just think your number one guy isn't doing well. So with that fractured finger, so I think that's definitely going to be a huge factor. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Warriors wrap that series up. Tony, are you thinking the same thing, or are you going to go left on us?
No, I agree with the Warriors too.
Shit. All right. Damn. We got
shit.
Poor Red. Hey, listen, if they're losing, I'm gonna be pissed because I told you I need the Reds to beat the Rangers. I don't want to hear anything less.
Well, it's not going good. I'll put it that way.
I told you it was only good for one.
That's what she said. Jesus. What a time to be alive, man. Let's talk some NHL, shall we, guys? We're going to kind of blow through this because I really want to get to the main segment. So we're going to get to this NHL real quick. Golden Knights. Isn't that, Tony, I think that's your team, if I'm not mistaken.
My team.
Yeah, Golden Knights versus the Jets. They take them out 5-4, double overtime. Wow. Vegas does get it 2-1 now. Eichel was good for you guys. Got you 2 goals and an assist.
Another game since
no, we're up 3-1.
Is it 3-1? I might be. Okay, I'm sorry. I might be off. My bad.
You're off.
It wouldn't be the first time. Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. 3-1. I'm sorry. Yeah, you took it 4-2. I wrote it down. I just had it in the wrong spot. Damn it, when I do that. And I did not mean to say it like that, but now it's kind of funny when I think about it. Vegas did control the game from the start. You guys came out. It was 1 apiece with Winnipeg, but then in that second period, you really took charge, put up 2-0, 1-1 in that third, and ultimately got it 4-2. But I think both of the scores that the Jets have were on power plays, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know, man. I think Vegas has got this. I don't think Winnipeg is going to have enough. Tony, I'm sorry, Gonzo. I know you're kind of wishy-washy. You don't think you quite decided on a team yet. I know last time we talked, you were talking about Columbus. I don't know, but
I don't watch a whole lot of hockey. I need to start watching it more.
That would be nice if you could, sir. Yeah, man. Though, Tony, man, this is your team, man. Your team's looking good, man. You're definitely in the driver's seat, man. I definitely think you guys are going to get that series there. Kind of moving it down a little bit. Then we see the Avs and the Kraken. They're at 2 apiece now. The Kraken did pick up that win in overtime. And I'll tell you, man, it wasn't even close. The Avs were really looking good those first couple of games, but this last game by the Kraken, shots on goal was 43-22 in favor of the Kraken. The hit was 52-37 in favor of the Kraken. But I thought the difference there was a power plays. They had 5 to the Avalanche's 3, but they got 2 goals out of the power play to the Avs 1. And ultimately, that's what gave that Kraken's team the win. And at 2 apiece, I know Nate McGirt, who was an avid Denver, Colorado person, must have been seething to know that a team that's only been in the league 2 years has tied up the series. What a time to be alive. It can't get any better than that.
I'd hate to see if they lost the game in regulation.
Because that game went to overtime.
I'm sorry. You said it went to overtime. Hey, but still though.
It wasn't close, but it wasn't overtime. You had me wrong.
Mike Hughes says, Dub Nation, Damien, God knows what he's going to say. I can't read it, but he says, I don't say the Kings should be worried about. Okay, we're not even going to go that far. If y'all want to read that, you can certainly there to peruse. I'm just going to leave it there. Look, I didn't block him. I didn't put him in timeout, so take it for what it is. Yeah, though, man. But isn't that crazy? This Kraken team, they've only been in the league 2 years, man. But damn, hey, they're putting up a fight.
Yeah, they've been really good most of the year. I've watched them a few times on TV. They're a good team.
I'm just saying. Hey, look, that's Mickey Delaney's team. I'm really expecting to see Mickey Delaney here in any minute talking about, Jay, did you see my Kraken? Because he always texts me on it. But yeah, Mickey, I see your Kraken.
Yeah, I picked the Reds. I should have known better.
I'm not putting that up there, Damon. You got middle fingers going all kinds of ways. Hey, next we're gonna go to the top. Hey, this is Logan's team. Logan is a Hurricanes guy. Hurricanes versus the Islanders. They got them 5-2. So now Carolina is looking at sweeping the Islanders. Frankie says Islanders. I have not watched the Islanders enough to know about them, but Frankie says they're dog water. But again, this game was won on the power plays, man. When you look at Carolina, it was 42-32 on the hits. Face-offs, New York did get them 32-28. But then you look at the power plays, and that's where the game was ultimately won. Carolina had 5 power plays, and they got 2 goals, whereas New York had 3 power plays and no goals. And I thought another one was the giveaways. Carolina only gave it up 9 times, and New York gave it up 20. So I thought that was pretty huge. But when you look at the way the game was scored, in that first quarter or first period, it was 1-0, and then it was 2-0, or 2 goals were scored to 0 for New York. And then ultimately in that third one, it was 2-2, and ultimately it was 5-2. So really Carolina, right from the jump, right from the first period, they were all over the Islanders and really commanded that game. I really don't think the Islanders can really do much to get that. Do you guys see anything differently, or do you think Carolina is going to crush them on the next go around?
I think they're playing right now, and the Islanders are up 1-0.
Oh, wow. Well, never say never. You never know. I guess we'll have to continue to watch. But what do you guys think? Gonzo, I think you probably watched the most hockey out of all of us. Do you think the Islanders come back on that series, or do you think Carolina takes it?
I like Carolina.
I think he was talking to you because I'm watching the most hockey out of all of us.
Yeah. I like Carolina. I think
you know who I'm talking. Damn it, Tony, Chris. I get all y'all's names confused. Let me And then we move over to Frankie's team, the Bruins versus the Panthers.
I heard that
and the Brewers. Huh?
I heard that team's terrible.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Until I watched a little bit of it. And don't tell Frankie that, because he'll be quick to point out that they're up 3-1, and they beat them 6-2 on the last game. So, and I gotta admit, man, that goalie Omar, 41 saves. I mean, that's a pretty impressive. He was working his butt off last night, honestly. DeBrusque and Hall both had 2 goals. Big fourth quarter for Boston. They got 4 goals. But yeah, man, honestly, that third period. I don't know why I put fourth quarter. I'm talking football and hockey. That third quarter where they got 4 goals was incredibly huge for them, and they just dominated the hell out of it. Power plays. Boston had 4 and got 2 goals, whereas Florida had 4 and got 1 goal. I don't think Florida's going to be able to do anything against Boston, so I do see Boston advancing. What do you guys think? Y'all thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Boston only lost 12 games all year. It was 65-12. They're going to be tough to beat. If they don't make it to the Stanley Cup, I'd be really surprised.
Yeah, me as well. And I'm going to ask you a question after I get through the Stars and Wild real quick. This is the last series I was going to talk about. I think it's the last one, unless there's another one. No, we got Kings and Oilers. Nobody gives a damn about them. Stars and Wild, 3-2 last night, and of course they evened it up. I'll tell you, man, I've been watching. Now this is the one series I have watched and really, and it's been physical, man. These guys, I mean, they've been beating the hell out of each other. I swear to God, I think I count about 5 or 6 fights every night, slamming themselves into the boards like a champ. I mean, one dude actually got sidewinded. I mean, I don't know how you didn't get a concussion out of it, or a TBI at the worst. It was incredibly physical. The Wild, for whatever reason, they always outshoot us on the goal. Last night it was 34-24. But I'm telling you, man, the one thing about Dallas is that goalie Ottinger. That guy, he had 32 saves last night, but he really, honestly, he's good. Like there was a couple of times where I really thought the goal was going to go in, and that glove would get it last minute, or he would kick his legs out and block it last minute. And I really thought they were just swarming him right and left. And I was telling Melanie, I was like, well, because she's a Stars fan, she's from Dallas, and I'm like, I was like, I don't know, man. It's looking pretty tight, man. That wall is looking pretty good tonight. But honestly, they got them. It was 0-0 in the first, 1-0 in the second, and then it was 3-2 ultimately to finish it off. And again, it was a pretty close. It was a close damn game. So honestly, I think we go back to Dallas at this point, and I think this is anybody's series. I think this series is going to be one of those series that just comes down to who wants it the most, who's willing to go through the most crap, or who's willing to be the most physical. Honestly, I think at this point with those guys, but an incredible series. Gonzo, Tony, I don't know if you watched any of it, but it was an incredible series.
Yeah, I seen some of it. The thing with the Western Conference, with that conference, with the Central and the Pacific, the Avalanche led their division with a 51-24 record, and the Golden Knights led their division with 51-22. You go down to the 8 seeds in that division. You got the one of them you got the Kraken. They won 46 games, only 5 games difference. In the same way with the Jets, the Stars and the Wild are playing each other right now. Only 1 game difference in wins this year. Stars won 47 games, Wild won 46. So it was a real even division, 1 through 8. Right now, the Avalanche, like I said, are having a hard time. They was 51-24 first place team. They're playing an 8 seed. They're playing the Kraken. 46-28 was the Kraken. So the Kraken's tied with them 2-2. So that's just a real tough division. I still think Golden Knights have a good chance to come through, especially if the Avalanche lose, because the Avalanche did give the Golden Knights some trouble this year.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Vegas. Okay, I got you. So the last series was the Oilers versus the Kings, and that series again is tied up at 2 apiece. Oilers did take the win the other night, 5-4. It did go to overtime. The Kings came out hot. I mean, they came out hot. They put up 3-0 on them in the first. And it looked like they were going to have a commanding lead and probably going to take it to the top. But the Oilers did bounce back in the second and put up 3 of their own. So then it was tied at 3 apiece. And, of course, in the third, they tied it up at 1 apiece. So ultimately they had to go to overtime at 4-4. And the Oilers were able to get that 1 goal in the overtime and ultimately take it. But, again, man, just back and forth. So I think this is going to be another one of those series that could go down to the last game. So we'll see. I really believe that it's probably going to – and I would like to see the Stars in there. I just don't know if the Stars are as good as Vegas is. Vegas is just incredible. So I do see Vegas and Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals, even though I would love to see the Stars somehow another battle their way into it. But I just think Vegas it's just hot. They're a hot team. And so I do see Vegas and Bruins in there. Is that who you're looking at, Tony?
That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm hoping for with Vegas for sure. But Jay, already in the first round of the NHL playoffs, there's already been 10 overtime games.
Yeah, that was what I thought was crazy too. Like this whole hockey playoffs, at least in the first round, and I can't imagine it wouldn't carry into the next round as well. But like you said, lots of close, nail biter games going to overtime. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. And the ones that go to double overtime, that first game that Dallas lost in double overtime, I think I was up to damn near almost 2:00 in the morning. Tony, I was so tired I couldn't even see the next day. And I don't know how these guys, I mean, and I'm sitting there watching it. I can't imagine, the amount of energy that you expand, playing hockey all the way, all the way to damn near 2 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's why they have such the bench is so important. That they have 2 or 3 lines. They come in, they come out. A lot of players play a lot of minutes. They have to, because hockey is a very, very tough sport to play. And right. I think it'd be incredible. I've been to hockey games, but I've never been to a playoff game. I think that'd be really cool to go to a playoff hockey game, because them crowds are nuts.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, we're going to see more as it goes along. I'm going to get to this next topic real quick. And, this is just one of many. Anytime you Google top 10, top 20, top 75, whatever, you'll see some variation of this, and I don't think it's on here. Elijah one was actually at number 11 on this list, but Again, Tony, I think a lot of times, people are underrated, man. I mean, like under freaking rated. Now, obviously, this is a little bit older. Like James down there at 10. I'm sure James and other ones that are more current. I'm sorry, this is probably as current as I wanted it to be. But James would probably be at number 2. But
who's at number 2 right now on that?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you can pull up any number of different people's versions
on this graphic. Who's number 2?
Bill Russell.
Okay,
I know, because you had that shitty eyesight. It's okay. But and again, even on this one though, Bird is typically around 5, 6, or 7. I've even seen Bird around the 7 spot. I've always seen Olajuwon down around like 11 or 12. I've never seen him past 12, but he's always around 11 or 12. And I always thought, and Tony, I know, I kind of know who you're going to talk about, but I always thought that Olajuwon got the shaft because of Shaq in this. Yeah. I always thought Shaq was the Olajuwon killer because Shaq was your prototypical big man center, whereas Olajuwon was Olajuwon doesn't get credit, but I think Olajuwon was the first hybrid center that would go out and he could hit the 3-point line. He could hit, the mid-range jumper, the fadeaway, the dream shake on the baseline. I mean, you name it, the guy did it, and he could do it. He could score it from different ways. But I think what really amazes me the most is, unlike every single person throughout the entire list, all the way down to 75 all-time greatest, he's the only one that got a basketball, literally got a basketball, and then was told to go play college, and he had never put the basketball in a hoop a day in his life. Never even put a ball on the court. And yet they expect him to go play college ball against the likes of Michael Jordan and companies and played at the highest level in college. And he had never even seen a basketball or held a basketball. And yet he goes out and does the dream. He goes out and becomes one of the most prolific groups in basketball with the Phi Slamma Jamma. Of course, that also included Clyde Drexler and a few other guys. So, if you look at his career, he averaged 25 points a game. Or correction, I'm sorry, I had that wrong. I thought I wrote it. I don't think. I'm sorry. He averaged 21.8 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. That's for a career. Yeah. He's got 25 3-pointers when 3-pointers weren't even supposed to be a part of a center's game. Not even really a true. Well, I think forwards hit threes back then because I think that's what. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Bird was a forward, but typically your centers didn't go out to 3-point lines. That was almost damn near unheard of. And he got 25 of them. But what I'm mostly concerned about is when I look at like where was James at in points? I think James was around. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he around? He was 38,652 points. That's what James is at right now. Now, he may have added obviously more than that. Now that this was the last time they calibrated when he got the scoring title at 1,421 games. Olajuwon only played 1,238 games, and yet he put up 20. I believe it was 21,000 points. I think somewhere in that neighborhood. I thought I wrote it down, but I know he was around the 21,000 points. He's a 12-time All-Star, 18 seasons, 3 blocks a game, several times, 2 NBA titles. And again, he's also got 2-time rebounding champ, 3-time block champ, 84, 85 all rookie, 93, 94 NBA MVP, 2-time finals, 2 defensive players, 9-time all defense. It is, he's number 12 on the scoring list, but yet he played probably about, right now it's probably close to around 220 less games. And I feel like I'm not saying by any means that he should be where James is. I'm just using James as a barometer for where I think Olajuwon should be. Now, if you like I said, most time when you Google where Olajuwon sits, it's typically between 11 and 13 on most people's radars. I think Olajuwon, in my opinion, is either 7 or 8 or should be 7 or 8, maybe even 9, 7, 8, or 9. But I would definitely not have him any less than 9 of the all-time greats. And again, people got to take into consideration everybody that's on these lists have played the game of basketball probably about 16, 17 years longer than what Olajuwon did. They were vastly ahead of the curve. So that's in my opinion, I think that's why I think he's underrated in my opinion. But Tony, give me your guy. Who's your guy?
Well, the number one is Jordan. I mean, I'm the best player ever. But the guy I think that's most underrated, in my opinion, is Bird. And I've been going back and forth on my list. He's almost 2, but I got to give 2 to Jabbar. I would say he's either 3 or 4, and maybe 3 above LeBron.
Right.
I think Bill Russell's. I know Bill Russell's 2 on this list, but if you look at a lot of the other lists, he's way down. I've got the ESPN list. They've got Shaquille at number 10, 9 Kobe, 8 they had Duncan, 7 they had Larry Bird, which I think is too low. 6 Wilt Chamberlain, 5 they had Magic Johnson, 4 they had Bill Russell, 3 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 2 they had LeBron, and 1 Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Now, if I have this is my top 10, and you're probably gonna be mad at me because I don't have Olajuwon on it, but he's right there.
You're an a-hole, but it's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, it's tough. I've got Shaq at 10. Do you put Olajuwon above Shaq?
See, and again,
I'm not.
You got to really think about it. I mean, you got to really think about it. I mean, for a guy, I think he, I do for a lot of reasons. Olajuwon is a guy that's hard to place because he was never really considered a true center, never really a true forward. He just he fell in that middle ground, right? He was in that middle ground, and I feel like a lot of times that really hurt him. Do I think he's better than where do you place Duncan at? Do you have Duncan in your top 10?
I got Duncan at 9.
And you think Duncan's better than Olajuwon?
Overall player, yeah. But it's tough. I mean,
I don't see it. I mean, I don't see it that way. But if you see it that way, I'm not going to knock your opinion. It's wrong, but I'm not going to knock it.
I had Jordan at 1, Jabbar at 2, Bird at 3, LeBron at 4, Russell at 5, Magic at 6, Kobe at 7, Wilt at 8, Duncan at 9, and Shaq at 10. But like you said, I mean, if you put Olajuwon at 8 or 7, I can't argue that. I mean, Olajuwon was great, and there's other players too. I mean, it's very tough when you start looking at the numbers. It's a very tough thing to look at. It's difficult.
My only, I think you can make the case for Shaq. I'll give you that. I don't know. The only reason I don't think you make the case for Duncan is because Olajuwon had like 10 different post-up moves. Duncan probably had 2 or 3. I think if Olajuwon was to play Duncan one-on-one, Duncan would have his ankles broke. I really mean that. And if you don't believe me, go back and really look at how Olajuwon would have you go left, right, up, under, and around before he even puts the ball in the hoop. And you're looking east, and Olajuwon's already gone west to the hoop. I'm serious. I've seen Olajuwon just do wonders to people, man. Just absolute wonders to people. And that's why I think I don't think that Duncan has the post-up moves or the finesse, of a guy like Olajuwon.
Let me look at Duncan's numbers. They're 19 points per game. So Olajuwon had a couple more points per game. Rebounds 10.8. Assists
11-1. So he's already got him in 2 categories out of the
assists 3 points. Blocks per game 2.2. So
he has them in blocks, he has them in rebounds, and he has them in points. Let me ask you another question. What was and this is where I look at this too. What was his field goal?
Did Duncan win?
What was Duncan's field goal? Does it tell you on there what his field goal percentage was?
No.
I can tell you Olajuwon was at 52. Olajuwon from the field was 52%. From the free throw line, he was 71%.
5 championships.
That's not what I wanted. Hold on.
He had 5 titles and 101,000 regular season wins. 1,000.
But you can't really look at that. I mean, That's
Yeah,
like
I mean,
saying
that's-
Bill Russell had 11 rings, Jordan had 6, but we all know Jordan was better than Russell. I look more at the end because you can't, like, when we talk team stats, I get how that is an important factor, but at the same time, when we're talking individually, who had the more post-up moves? Who had who when you look at the categories, who's outdoing in the categories? You know what I'm saying? And then again, like you said, like I was thinking, he came out of the Virgin Islands. Olajuwon came out of Nigeria, Lagos. Hey, look, Olajuwon was. People don't understand this. Olajuwon actually started out, believe it or not, playing soccer. He was supposed to be a soccer player.
I'll tell you something that surprised me when I was looking at Wilt's numbers.
Yeah,
was his assists per game. 4.4 assists per game. That
absolutely.
Because 30 points a game, 30.1 points a game, and 22.9 rebounds per game. And I know the dude was a big dude, and people are going to say, well, the average size center back then was 6'10" in the 60s.
Absolutely.
And
Seven players back then.
Average size center now is about the same thing. So people want to say the only difference is there is, if you go from 1952 to now, as far as the average size player, I'm talking about the forwards and the guards, there is about a 3-inch difference, but not because they said the average size player in the NBA right now is about 6'6". That's still the average size player. Back then it was probably about 6'4", the average size. But the centers, there wasn't much difference. A lot of people want to say that, but if you go look at it, it's not.
That is nuts. Gonzo, I know you're kind of the young guy in the group. You're just a young buck. But who would your underrated guy be?
Well, I wrote down a few, but I really do think I agree with that. I think Larry Bird's underrated by most people. A lot of people just want to think of him as a 3-point shooter. He was a complete player.
Passer. How many players are better passer than him? It's hard to say there is a better passer than him.
But, some names I had wrote down on here: Clyde Drexler. Yep. I think Clyde Drexler is a very underrated.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I do.
Manu Ginobili, I think,
is
underrated.
Yes.
Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah,
I think he's underrated. He was. I used to love watching him as a kid.
And I'm biased, but I think Reggie Miller's underrated.
Yeah, I think Reggie's underrated as well.
But I really like I want to go back to the Manu Ginobili. I really, really like that one from you, Gonzo. And I like that because I felt like Manu was always overshadowed by Parker and Duncan. And I don't think he ever really got the credit for what he meant to that franchise and things of that nature. I mean, it's incredible.
And then I also had Olajuwon wrote down. And then
better have
this one, who was one of my favorite players, and I think injuries is one of the reasons he's underrated. But Grant Hill,
yeah, injuries really, really hurt him. I think if he had not gone to all the injuries, but and again, if we're looking at that too, Anthony Penny Hardaway,
yep.
I mean, and that's the thing, man. All those
I was a big Grant Hill fan when I was growing up.
Yeah,
and then another one, and this one, I don't know if it's just because I watched him so much when he played with the Knicks, but Larry Johnson.
Yeah, but he always had the best damn commercials too.
If you looked at his career with Charlotte and then his career with the Knicks, I think he's an underrated player for what he really did in the NBA.
Yeah, that Larry Johnson out there in Charlotte was a beast.
Yeah, there was a few years there in Charlotte where he was unstoppable.
That's incredible.
Yeah, them were the names I wrote down. But a lot of them you could tell from my age were players I watched growing up. But
I wonder at some point where a guy like Chris Paul is going to wind up on that list. Because a lot of people, even though he doesn't have a ring, what he's managed to do over the span of his career and what he's done to move the needle on teams that really had no business being where they were, and what he meant.
I don't think he makes top 10.
I don't think he makes top 10 either, and it's a shame. But I do think he should be considered among point guards. You can say he didn't have the hands of Allen Iverson, but let me ask you this: could Allen Iverson take that Oklahoma City Thunder team and put them in the playoffs when everybody had them written off as a rebuild? I mean, how many players can do that?
Well, another name you got to think of at guard also that's going to be up in that list high is going to be Steph Curry. That's not there yet because he's.
Oh God, yes.
Steph
Curry. Yeah, Steph Curry won't be underrated. I promise you. They're going to put that dude up there high, and he should be up there high. He should be.
Real quick, Jay. Real quick, just with Bill Russell, he didn't have the points per game, only 15.1, but he averaged almost 23 rebounds a game. Also, over 4 assists a game. Also,
well, God, I hope he went over those small little white boys.
Yeah, that's what's the only played guys that were 5'8". He's a moron. 5 MVPs, 11 NBA All-Star selections. So, I mean, 11 championships in 13 years, which I know that he's on that's a team thing too. You just can't say him.
Hey, real quick though, I'm going to go back to Bird just for a second. I thought I read something that really stuck out to me, and I meant to mention this, and I did want to mention that I thought was really super interesting. Was the fact that he only played 897 games, and he had 21,791 points. And like I said, because I'm only mentioning James because he's the scoring leader. But when you look at it in terms of points, James is at 38,652 when he broke it. And I mean, and again, 897 from almost 1430 or 1450 games. That's a lot. So when you look at that, I mean that's it's incredible. And then he also was the only person to be named Rookie of the Year, MVP, Finals MVP, All-Star MVP, and of course then he gets when he got out of the league, then he goes on to be Coach of the Year and ultimately Executive of the Year. But again, a lot of things that Larry did really gets kind of glossed over, when you think about, where they're placing him and where he should be.
He averaged 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, over 6 assists a game.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the thing of it is, you compare that to LeBron, that's more rebounds, and the assists are close. I'm not sure LeBron may have him by assist. Of course, LeBron's got him on the points. But in my opinion, Bird was a better defender, and in my opinion, Bird was a better passer. That's my opinion. Now, people would argue with me on that because don't get me wrong, LeBron's a good passer too. I'm not putting him down. I don't think he's as good a passer as Bird.
This will have nothing to do with him playing, but I don't think he gets credit for as good as the coach as he was either, because he done a hell of a job coaching the Pacers, but his career coaching record is 147-67.
Jeez Louise.
He has almost a 70% winning percentage.
The other thing is being a coach on the court. He was so smart.
Oh yeah,
the dude was one of the smartest NBA players ever.
He would tell the players what he was going to do.
They couldn't stop it.
They still couldn't stop it.
LeBron too busy crying about somebody making fun of his hairline.
Shit, my bad. My bad. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, let's get some final thoughts. Jay's got to go pick up the wife before she went and got her tattoo this evening I told you about the armadillo, so I got to go pick her up. But final thoughts, man. Hey guys, lots of things are going on, man. Lots of things are going on in the NBA world. MLB. What's that?
Hawks are up 41-36 on the Celtics, second quarter.
Yeah. Could it be the Hawks night? Guess we're gonna find out on that. Oh my God, what if they win? Oh my Lord.
I'm not sure. I have to look. I'm not sure.
Do you know, Jay? Is because Damon asked about Vince Carter. Will you put him on that list? Is Vince Carter in the top 75?
I really gotta dive into Vince. I want to put him in there. I don't know if his career was long enough or deep enough. I mean, it definitely was long enough because the guy played forever. I'm not gonna say it's not long enough. I just got to go back and look at more at his stats and see where he falls in there.
We got to see him play live in real good seats, like second row seats.
Dude is huge, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to put him in there. I just got to look more at it, but I want to put him in there. Yeah. For some reason, in the back of my mind, I'm saying, yeah, he should definitely be in there.
I tell you who else was huge. We got to see him up close, Patrick Ewing. and wearing a suit.
Oh yeah, Patrick Ewing's huge. That dude's like 7 feet.
Yeah, but we got to see him. We was in the second row, right behind the bench, and he's in a suit. He's a coach. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
TV don't do these guys justice. So
I'm telling you,
because even like the first.
I remember. Hey, listen. I remember when I went and watched when Yao Ming was with the Rockets, and I was way up in the Raptors. I had them cheap tickets, but Yao Ming was at center court, and I remember looking at my dad. I was like, you know, a dude is big when everybody else looks like ants, and I can clearly see everything on that man. I was like, that dude's big. Like he was like he took the whole damn thing,
man. TV don't do him justice. I remember the first time I saw Reggie Miller live, especially the first time we had good seats. I'm like, fuck, Reggie's a lot bigger than what you think he is. I mean, he's not a big person, but you know what I mean? For compared to us, you're big.
Bro, look, when Tony's at 4'11", everybody's big. Okay,
that's
number
true.
one.
That's true. I agree.
I mean, like honestly, that's like Yoda to Vader. I mean, let's just be honest.
I agree. I mean, dude, 5'7" is pretty big.
Hey, I'm not big either. I'm only 5'9". I mean, by all means, I'm considered small too. So, I mean, I'm not a pigmoid or a pygmy, but
here we go.
You're only 5'9". I figured you was tall. I figured you'd probably 6'2", 6'3".
Man, I wish. And I think my wife does too. But I told her, look, you get 5'9".
I think we need to.
And if you want to put the 3/4 in there, then you can put the 3/4.
I think we need to get Jay at a wrestling show and let him take a chop from JKO.
Well, I already seen him on the show once.
Yep, Chuckles.
Hey, but you know what though, Tony? I want you to remember this: 5'9" in inches is 69.
Hey Jay, let me ask you. Jay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
You come to one of these? Would you come to one of these wrestling shows and take a chop?
I'll take it. Well, I'm gonna have a few drinks first, but then yes, I'll take a chop.
Drinks first.
I'm gonna make. Hey, I just want to make sure when I take the chop that my body is fully ready to receive the pain.
Hey, you're gonna need a couple drinks afterwards as well.
Hey, listen, I saw your chest. I have no doubt that I would. That may be. I'm not saying it is, but it could be one of the reasons why maybe you have some back issues, Gonzo. Maybe taking those chops.
That was before.
It hell didn't help.
No, it didn't help. But already had the back issues.
He could barely get in the ring. He's in there just chopping the crippled dude. I mean, I didn't want him to do it. That's what the hell are you doing?
I'm just saying, on so many levels, that is so wrong.
Well, I shouldn't have done it, but here's the real quick story. It was our first wrestling show that we streamed live. Well, there was this other podcast that ended up being there as well, and they took one of their guys in the ring and they gave him a little chop.
Both of them guys are younger dudes.
Yeah, they're younger dudes. Gave the dude a little chop. Well, then they started calling us out. We were up in the balcony, and they started calling us out. Well, the other two guys that was doing the show with me at the time, they took off. My cousin went in another room and hid. The camera guy, Eric, he took off. I'm like, well, fuck, one of us have to go. We're gonna look like little bitches. So I hobbled down the fucking stairs where they got in the ring. I told them, I said, you guys better get this on camera.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I went down. I thought I was taking one shot. I took three, and they hit me a hell of a lot harder than they hit that dude.
Yeah, they did.
I'm telling you, they barely even hit that other dude. Dude, they let me up.
Yeah, they did.
Man, listen, if you step in the ring, I always say it's all man. It's every man for himself. And wrestling is wrestling. People think it's fake, but you know some of that stuff is, hey, it's still a sport. Them dudes they're going through some shit. So I
done it, but I also earned some respect with them guys for getting in there and doing it.
Damien, of course you did.
Damien wants to see Jay take a stink face from Rikishi.
Hey, I probably could get that. I probably could get that arranged.
We will have conversations when I come up and visit you guys. We will talk about it. We'll think about it. We'll see if we can put something like that in the. I'm all for good shit. Hey, I'm all for getting in and doing what we do. I mean, it's all fun and games. I'm good.
I can't do none of that physical stuff no more. But hey, I'll do stuff. But
I'm 50, like I really can. But we're gonna give it a shot.
They chopped it. But Damien, go look on my YouTube page. It's one of my top viewed videos. There's a video of Rikishi giving giving a manager here in Indiana a stink face at one of the shows we were at.
Oh. All right, everybody. It's your boy Gonzo, Tony. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Gonzo, did you have anything, any plugs you need to put out? I know we got the draft. Don't forget the draft is 7:30 on Thursday. It's going to be amazing.
Big draft night show, 7:30.
Yep.
Gonzo Sports Room and Unscripted channels. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Like and follow Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Gonzo Sports Room. And don't forget, May 5th, 6th, and 7th, we'll be having wrestling shows all day long, basically all 3 days, live from the Indianapolis Comic-Con.
Yep.
Come join us for that.
Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, Damian, appreciate you guys for hanging out with us, man. It's always a pleasure to chop it up. Yeah, Tony, again, man, appreciate you coming and hanging out, man. Gonzo, I will catch you Tuesday. Or no, what is today? I'll catch
Wednesday.
No, I will. I won't be on Wednesday because tomorrow I got voluntold I got to go help Melanie at her job. But let's see.
What?
Oh yeah.
Whoa. So which show are you not going to be on tomorrow?
No, I won't be on the afternoon show tomorrow.
Okay.
I got to go help the wife, and then I got to go to a VA appointment, and I'm not looking forward to that. But
are you going to come on tomorrow night?
Yes, I will. I will be on tomorrow night. I will be on for that show. So I will catch you on the late. I will be on the late night show, and we'll do the recap then.
That'll be at work tomorrow, so that'll be good.
Okay.
That way I won't be by myself.
No, I got you.
I got you. I start talking to myself sometimes. You know what I mean, Jay?
Jay does that with
Yeah, I do that all the time. That's why I bought a dog. All right, everybody, man. Much love, much appreciation. Don't forget to catch me and Gonzo tomorrow night on the late show, and then Gonzo on the 1 o'clock show, and Gonzo on the Easy Money at 3. Make sure you tune into all those shows. It's always a good time hanging out, man. And until next time, peace.